You know what other team you got to watch out for? And we'll have a good sense of them in the next 10 days.
Yeah.
The red-hot Boston Red Sox.
10 straight going into the break.
Yes. And here's who they start the second half with. 3 at Wrigley, 3 at Philly, the Dodgers at Fenway. That's their next 9 games. If they go 7-2 or something like that, then all of a sudden you got to worry about the Red Sox.
Could win their division if they're not slowed down here.
Yes.
So, okay, scenario that you want to play out. They're in the ALCS. They lose in the ALCS, and they lose to successful season?
I'm not coming in that next morning.
For you, it will be if Bregman hits a walk-off series winning.
It puts me in a bad spot. I don't want to be the smarmy guy after my own team gets eliminated. I would take no joy in that.
No, I know, because they actually tried to get him.
And they did.
Yes.
They did. I mean, they gave him the most guaranteed money. He chose to take lump sum up front, bet on himself, and make it up on the back end.
Right.
So I'm definitely make the World Series, or I think the season's a failure. I do. Because they've been playing 600 baseball since last August, consistently. They're still the only team in baseball that's above 600 in the standings. They're 608 right now. That means you're winning 3 out of every 5 games. That is a great formula and that consistency in terms of advancing at least to the ALCS. I have the faith to believe they'll add enough to win the ALCS.
Yeah, because they have to add at least an arm. I mean, I want more. I think we all want more, but they'll add at least an arm. They should win the American League.
I just don't know. First off, this American League is down, and there's still a lot of baseball left, and maybe somebody surges, continues to, like Boston or Seattle. But if you just look at what's happened the last 11 months in this league, the Tigers have had the best record. How can that not be expected?
And I think there's some people who reject this entire premise of this conversation. You don't get to move the goalpost. Before the year, you would have taken this. Before the year, we're talking about could they have a winning record and sneak in the playoffs. They had injuries in center field. They didn't have a big offseason. Gleyber Torres turned out to be a hell of an addition, but at the time, nobody saw this coming. It's different now. They had 6 All-Stars, right? We clamored to get all these guys in the All-Star game. They have the most All-Stars in baseball. They've spent the most days in first place in baseball. It'd be silly to go, if they make the playoffs, a successful season. It changes. It just does. We're all humans. Our expectations change. So what are they?
But they lost 4 in a row, Jim.
I know.
And their All-Stars didn't get a hit. I know. And their pitchers
don't start me on that All-Star thing again. People are idiots.
Stoney, how much stock should we put in the All-Star performances?
0. 0. If you watch that All-Star game and you have good vision and you think that made any difference of how the Tigers are going to do because the All-Stars that they had didn't have a good game, you should be sent to an insane asylum.
To clarify, if you have an eye patch or you're blind, it's not your fault if you think the sky's falling.
Yeah.
Ticket Texter says, according to you, Costa, all season they're the best team in baseball. How can the expectations not be win the World Series? This is the semantics of it. They've had the best record. I've maintained the Dodgers are the best team in baseball, and that's why I have a hard time saying if you don't beat the Dodgers, it's a failure. You got to get there. And then root like hell that this team, the best team doesn't always win, Stoney.
Mm-hmm. I know.
The record is very deceiving, boys. They play in the worst division. They will not keep up with the Mets, Dodgers, Cubs, etc. Well, they took 2 or 3 with Chicago earlier this year.
Correct. They still have to play the Mets.
Yeah, and the Phillies, I think, could be a problem. They're going to see the Phillies the second half.
Right. First weekend. First series after the trade deadline.
So, see, did you do enough?
Yes.
Be a real good litmus test. Texter says, I want to see them win it all, but the Wings and Pistons didn't in their first couple years. And now we see with the Lions, no one wins those first couple years breaking through.
That's why I want to see incremental progress.
What's a successful season? Texter says, have more wins than we got points. Signed, Steve.
Oh. Okay.
I like that. Mm-hmm. Good to know. But in the second half here, you're right. They're going to get some tests, and we're going to see, is the McKinstry thing real? Is the Javi Baez thing real? Is Torque going to keep this up and solidify himself as a long-term first baseman, not just a great first-half story? Riley Green, I think, people get fixated on the strikeouts. Are those going to come back to haunt him? He strikes out 1 of every 3 at-bats, which makes it even more ridiculous that he performs as well as he does, throwing away a third of every at-bat.
Right.
But those are stories in the second half, like sustainability from this ball club. But we cite they've done this for a year now. Second half of last year, first half of this year, it feels like they're not blowing a division lead. They're going to be in the postseason. They're going to add at the trade deadline. They're likely going to get a first-round bye. So now we're really starting in the ALDS, and you better win a 5-game series with Skubal on the mound twice.
Well, I'll give Gov credit for this because he pointed this out last week. I mean, you look at the standings right now. They're only 2.5 ahead of Houston, 3.5 ahead of Toronto. Yankees falling 5.5, Boston 6.5. So if, let's say, hypothetically, one of those teams passes them, they'll still get one of the buys, but they won't have the best record in the American League.
Right.
But it's hard to see right now, for me at least, anybody in the AL East winning more than 92 games because they're going to be playing each other. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And Baltimore's actually been playing better since they were horrible earlier in the year.
We're done with them.
So they have to play those tough teams again, at least probably a home and away again. Everybody plays everybody. So if the Tigers continue to do their thing, they should avoid falling down to the worst division record. I just say, there are little things to be concerned about. Like this Veerling Meadows thing has to get figured out in the next 10 days.
Yes.
Is Parker Meadows going to be on your playoff roster or not?
Well, they're not going to decide that in the next 10 days.
No. He needs to prove that he
needs to go to Toledo and get fixed up.
I'm not saying they're going to definitely make the decision, but you need to start knowing who are we sending to the plate in October.
Well, and that's the key for Scott Harris here is are you just banking that Veerling and Meadows are going to be there and they're going to perform like they did last year? Because we have no indication of that this season.
No. And he's not going to say publicly if he doesn't think they're going to do it.
Well, if they don't make a trade, it's going to tell us what he thinks.
Right, exactly.
We've speculated a little bit if Meadows is a problem, Veerling will stick no matter what, and he'll be a platoon with Kerry Carpenter.
Assuming he's producing. Right now he's just not.
As long as Carpenter's back. By the way, Carpenter has been gone, and although he's had not as good a years last year, he still provided power.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing, too, is Canely. Now, I expect him to get back to closer to when he was being good. But because he only has the one pitch, there is at least I'll entertain the thought that, this guy's kind of lost it.
Look, and I basically, it's factual. Made fun of the fact that he didn't retire an out last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Every pitch that was hit, it's just because he left it right over the meat of the plate.
Well,
it was all location. It's not them trying to figure out anything.
Well, you don't have to figure it out. You know what it is. I know it's a little more sophisticated than just change
That's what I'm saying, though. But if he's throwing that same exact pitch and earlier in the season, it's, cutting the corners and, moving
Dropping
a little
off.
bit, you're not going to hit it. But if he's putting it right down the middle like he did last weekend, boom,
You're
boom,
toast.
boom.
I mean, Costa's already got a stand-up routine on Canely throwing BP. Like you said the other day, the home run derby would have been better if he was out there. It's like, whoa.
It was just an exaggeration of his last weekend. But I do think there's questions about adding to the bullpen before he struggled. And now with that in the back of your head, you don't get the luxury of let's give it another month to see if he ends up rounding into form. You got 2 weeks.
Yep. And
Stoney, we like Vest, but you can't have one high-leverage reliever in a 7-game series.
Right.
Because they're going to see him 3, 4, 5 times potentially.
I have confidence in Scott Harris. He's going to add at least one more reliever. I think he's going to do 2 of them. One will be more top of the line, and the other will be somebody who is at least better than what they have. Looking forward here, not to play the schedule game, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, August 18th, 19th, and 20th, when the Astros come to town, that could be a big series as far as determining seeding in the playoffs.
Ticket text on the expectations heading into the second half. Hey, guys, it's not a surefire thing the Tigers beat the Astros in the playoffs again. The bullpen's not performing like last year. We beat the Astros because it was 3 up, 3 down with every pitcher who came out. And this one says, guys, anytime the Tigers roll out a lineup with Meadows, Veerling, Sweeney, and Jake Rogers, it's 4 holes in the lineup. That's not going to be the playoff lineup.
No. You hope not.
I mean, they had to have a bunch of injuries and do nothing at the deadline for that to be the playoff lineup. 248-539-9797. It's 97.1.